and thanks for joining us on Nationwide today. I'm Elizabeth Omori with the news. President Bola Tinubu has concluded his official state visit to the Kingdom of Netherlands. We will now join our State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab in The Hague for an update. Musbao, could you give us an idea of the outcomes of the state visit and possibly areas of collaboration?
Yes, indeed, the assignment is concluded here for President Bola Tinubu in the Kingdom of Netherlands on the state visit on the invitation of the Prime Minister Mark Rutte, where a lot of agreements have been reached, and he has now proceeded to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, particularly for another critical assignment where the World Economic Forum will be taking place. Now, that is another very critical assignment for President Bola Tinubu because issues concerning Nigeria will be discussed here, talking about global collaboration, growth, and energy for development. It's going to be another opportunity for President Bola Tinubu to meet with world leaders again, and of course captains of industry on how to collaborate or how to boost the economy of Nigeria. Now, talking about the achievements here in the Netherlands, the president led a team that has successfully met with various companies here in the Netherlands, and some agreements have been reached, particularly in the area of agriculture, and there's also an agreement on collaboration on research and development. And again, Minister of Marine and Blue Economy Adegboyega Oyetola also told the Port of Rotterdam on possible knowledge transfer to the Nigeria Port Authority. So that is expected to be part of the gains from the state visit to the Kingdom of Netherlands. And we spoke to our Foreign Affairs Minister, Yusuf Tuga, who highlighted some of the gains from this state visit.
All right, thank you so much, Musbao.
So
Thank you so much, Musbao. Moving on, Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tuga met with Nigerian professionals in the Netherlands ahead of President Tinubu's participation at Nigeria-Dutch Business and Investment Forum. The minister recognized various potential of Nigerian diaspora community based in the Netherlands towards driving national development, and equally stressed the essence of fostering stronger ties between Nigeria and its diaspora communities worldwide.
By the media aid of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Al-Qasim Al-Buqadr says, Yusuf Tuga highlighted Tinubu 4Ds framework, which focuses on democracy, development, demography, and diaspora as central pillars for engaging with Nigerians abroad. The discussion centered on Nigeria's enabling business environment, ongoing economic reforms, and investment incentives available to those interested in investing back home. The minister informed the diaspora community of reforms the Nigerian government put in place via its 4D foreign policy that prioritizes on diaspora fund and sector-backed communities that will make it possible to harness the greatness of the Nigerian diaspora community in the Netherlands through their skills and ideas to drive development back home. The minister also reiterated the federal government's commitment to exploring other mechanisms to grant dual citizenship to Nigerians abroad and enable them to participate in voting in future elections. In Abuja, Garb Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
Now, away from the Netherlands state visit, we now join our correspondent in Kano, who will give us an update on the situation in Kano, where a building collapsed and then actually trapped some persons under the rubble. Abdullahi Mustafa will be joining us. Abdullahi, can we hear from you?
Government area of Kano State, where the building behind me collapsed in the early hours of the day. And we are told on arrival that there are about a dozen of laborers here working. They were taking their breakfast before they continue with the daily work when it just collapsed over them. And so far, there are 5 persons that were brought out of the rubble, and 1 survived, but unfortunately 4 of them died. And just a few minutes before coming to us now, an excavator was belonging to a construction company nearby was digging into the rubble to find out if there are still surviving victims. And they are now on hold. We are told they will come back now to continue with the rescue operation in search of the 7 remaining victims. But I think to tell us more, I have head of search and rescue of National Emergency Management Agency. I think, sir, you may introduce yourself.
So I am Abdulhadi Tukur, the head of search and rescue National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
So talk to Nigerians, talk louder. So what really happened? Tell us the situation here.
Around 9 o'clock, 9 something, so we received distress call of collapsed building. So in collapsed building, so we organized our stakeholders. So we talked to the Nigerian Civil Defense, talked to the fire service, Federal Road Safety, and Nigerian Police about the incident. So we come to the scene. When we come to the scene, so we mobilize and bring the excavator, so to bring the people that trapped inside the collapsed building. So as now, so we removed the 5 victims, where 2 was alive right now. They are receiving treatment in the hospital, and 3 confirmed dead by the doctors.
Okay, so it's not 1, 2 survived the. So what is the situation now? Is the rescue operation continuing anytime from now?
The search and rescue is still going on. So, but we have little problem of the excavation. But we call the tech construction company. So the 2 vehicles, 1 excavator and payload loader, they are about to reach to the scene of the incident now.
Okay, so they are on their way.
They are on their way right now.
Okay, this is the situation, the update so far from the scene of the building collapse here in Plateau on the outskirts of Kano City. So this is the situation so far.
Thank you so much, Abdullahi, and we hope to get more updates from you subsequently. Thank you. Away from the building collapse, the House of Representatives has assured the Delta State government of its full backing in handling the safe return of the displaced Okoma people that left their community in the wake of the crisis that saw 17 soldiers and officers killed in Uheli North local government area of Delta State. The chairman, House Committee on Defense, Babajima Benson, briefed journalists at Government House Annex in Warri. Tessikoka reports.
In what is meant to be a public investigative hearing on Okoma crisis by the House Committee on Defense, later turned out to be a press briefing. No representative of the Okoma community turned up. Their absence is attributed to fear, as some of them are still traumatized due to the crisis. The chairman of the House Committee on Defense told newsmen that the committee has continued to receive memorandum from the people, as more are expected to submit theirs to the committee. While the activities of the committee remain, they are ready to get the necessary information about the crisis and subsequently visit the community.
We received a lot of memorandum from them, but they have not turned up physically. We intend to work on that memorandum.
The House Committee on Defense were earlier in Government House Asaba to visit Governor Sheriff Oborevwori on Okoma crisis. In Warri, Tessikoka, NTA News.
Improvisation rolled at a research and development competition organized by the Nigerian Air Force Mobility Command to enhance technological innovations through problem solving. Defense correspondent Najat Tijan reports that it was a tough competition where host 307 Executive Airlift Group emerged winner.
307
Excitement as the winning team is announced, inspiring a new generation of innovators. It has been a day of presentations and lectures on the importance of research and development. Practicals follow theory as each team, comprising units under the Mobility Command, showcase theirs using locally sourced materials.
A pool of highly talented people, which we believe that we harness together, could go a long way in meeting up with our technological challenges. It may interest you also to know that technology is very expensive, and so you cannot continue to depend on outsiders.
The winning invention, however, is the improvised flight simulator by the host, the 307 Executive Airlift Group. The winning team has transformed everyday materials into a state-of-the-art flight simulator, allowing pilots to train in realistic conditions. They've also reinvented essential equipment, making it more efficient and effective.
I'm quite impressed that some of the challenges that people have around them, they are making efforts to see how they can in-house solve those problems.
By embracing improvisation, the Nigerian Air Force is turning obstacles into opportunities to make the world a better place. From the 307 Executive Airlift Group, Abuja, Najaa Tutijani, NTA News.
In other news, another escape of about 119 inmates, as reported by the Nigeria Correctional Service during a rainstorm in Suleja, has again highlighted the weak physical structure in some of the correctional centers in the country. Speaking on the urgent need to rehabilitate the custodial centers and to modernize inmates' registration administration process, a network of non-governmental organizations called attention to the need for exploring the full potential of the Nigeria Correctional Service Act 2019 to prevent jailbreaks in the future.
Modernize them, equip them with relevant facilities that will help to advance security measures, the utilization of monitoring device, and many other facilities that are stipulated under Section 28 of the Nigerian Correctional Service Act of 2019.
What has happened in Suleja throws up the need, like she has rightly read out in Section 12, for a reinforcement of our custodial centers.
Restorative and, think about restoring the people, as opposed to just punishing them. Punishment clearly has not worked. It hasn't worked in any country.
Kano, Ebonyi, Edo and Anambra states were commended for taking concrete steps to implement the non-custodial sentencing measures, a concept noted to reduce overcrowding in custodial centers. Now to job generation, the Ministry of Labour and Employment has commenced engagement with development finance institutions to create 2.5 million decent jobs for Nigerians annually. It was at the unveiling of the ministry's Renewed Hope Empowerment Program where the Minister of State for Labour and Employment was emphatic on eradication of poverty in the next 4 years. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
On the 29th of February, the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Nkiru Onyejeocha, announced the ministry's initiative to launch a program that will fundamentally drive President Bola Tinubu's job creation agenda. Less than 3 months after, the program has been unveiled. Labour and Employment Empowerment Program, LEAP. The minister was clear on the target of the 6-point poverty eradication program.
What's the mandate of Labour Ministry? Number one is to make sure that poverty is reduced, if not completely eradicated. I dream that under our watch, with your support, that it's possible to eradicate poverty. Then also to create employment. Job creation is very key.
As far as I'm concerned, we've been developing policies, geared towards providing direction for the ministry and for the nation as a whole. I want specific commitments.
The framework of the program aligned with the objectives of the development finance institutions, and that made it an easy buy.
The key thing there is to make sure that in areas where There is lots of institutions, private sector, public sector, international development partners and international organizations working together. It's the need for coordination.
Here or Distinct is one of the best tools globally for job matching and using AI to match people to jobs.
So not everybody will accept to learn digital skills. Some will prefer other vocational skills.
As the flagship program of the ministry, it is also expected to reinvigorate technical and vocational education in Nigeria. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Now, for effective utilization of allotted funds for the Great Green Wall Initiative, the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center and Transparency International have put in place mechanisms to ensure implementation of the project. This was during the official launch of the research report of the Great Green Wall in Abuja. Mohammed Rabiu Ali reports.
Climate change, desertification and land degradation have devastating effects on the ecosystem. This is the reason for the initiative of the Great Green Wall. For now, 11 countries in Africa have keyed in, Nigeria inclusive. At the launching of the research report, the Executive Director of Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center identifies gaps in climate, finance governance with regards to the Great Green Wall in Nigeria.
We are really looking at sustainable development, and in fact to achieve SDG, we should actually focus more attention in dealing with issues that has to do with land, because land is wealth, land is everything.
The achievements so far, these are data provided by the agency on their website that they were able to produce 45.25 million tree seedlings were produced, and 4,445 solar home systems distributed, 3,631 jobs created.
It is expected that two agencies will provide recommendations on the best practices towards ensuring transparency, accountability, and community-led monitoring. In Abuja, Mohammed Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
In view of the rains, the Anambra state government is carrying out massive desilting of drainage systems and waterways in the state, an exercise aimed at mitigating the flooding experienced annually in the state. Ngozi Ukiakuru reports that the exercise has also restored fresh water and air for residents in the state.
With investigations showing that poor attitude of people towards waste management is a major contributor to blocked drainages and flooding of the environment during rainy seasons, the Anambra state government launched the Operation Clean and Green campaign to clear all blocked drainage channels within Awka and its environs before the rains intensify. The week-long exercise, spearheaded by the Awka Capital Territory Development Authority, ACTDA, kicked off along the ever-busy 7.5 km 6 Avenue, stretching to Ameni and Ukwoji axis.
A lot of incombustible materials have filled up the drains, therefore making it impossible for flood to pass through. So what we are doing now is to intensively, carefully, deliberately desilt and clean these drainages so that we will not have such ugly situation continue within our environment.
And we also ensured that those who did not comply were enforced to do so. Many people had their establishment sealed until they complied with the abatement notices that were issued to them.
Aimed towards environmental protection, the Clean and Healthy Anambra initiative of Governor Charles Soludo's administration, residents say, is a step in the right direction.
It's very, very commendable, at least so that people should have fresh breath.
We are hoping for the best because of the results we are seeing now. As you can see, this very place, whatever is flooded, people can pass.
Ahead of NIMET's prediction of serious flooding this year and to sustain last year's success story of no flooding and zero fatality, the state government also directed property owners all over the state to desilt and evacuate refuse around them to mitigate man-made flooding during the rains. In Awka, Ngozi Ukekaru, NTA News.
With the effective launch of the Clean, Green and Sustainable Environment program in Anambra, it will definitely no longer be business as usual. So, what other measures are in place to check indiscriminate dumping of refuse into drainages being cleared? Ngozi is still standing by to give us an answer. Ngozi, let's hear from you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome to Oka, the Anambra State capital, where I bring you up to speed on the Operation Clean and Green campaign of the Anambra State government. Anambra State, you know, is prone to erosion and has currently over 1,000 active erosion sites. The environment is facing serious climate change, and this has brought about flooding of the major streets and some areas in the state. And to mitigate against these challenges, the Anambra State government devised a means called Operation Clean, Green and Sustainable Environment to check these challenges. As it may interest you to know, previously, the state, especially 6th Avenue, witnessed serious flooding, and this flood diverts its ways to people's houses where they wreak havoc and sometimes claim lives. And as you also may know, there's a market, a major market in this state capital called Ekoka Market, where many traders from all parts of the state come to do their businesses. Unfortunately, in the event of flooding, this market is flooded and goods worth millions of naira destroyed. To sustain the efforts of the state government, in 2023, solution came in. That is the Anambra State Governor, Professor Charles Soludo, with campaign called Operation Clean, Green and Sustainable Environment. This he has done by opening and desilting drainages along the major streets in Anambra State, especially in major cities of the state. And this has extended to 6th Avenue, the state capital. In this 6th Avenue, most times, you have the roads flooded that people can barely use the road. So this year, to ensure that the efforts of the state government launched in 2023, whereby it desilted the drainages and made sure for the passage of flood in the event of heavy rains, which usually wreak havoc. This year, the Anambra Capital Territory Development Agency, headed by OC Onuko, also, as a follow-up, flagged up what they called Clean and Green campaign. That is to ensure that the efforts of the state government is sustained by way of protecting the environment. By this action, the authority now embarks on massive desilting of drainages, and that is done in several streets and major roads in the state capital, starting with 6th Avenue. Starting with the 6th Avenue, where the equipment are already desilting the drainages and evacuating garbages. If you observe from the footage, you will see the action managing director of the ACDA supervising the staff and the workers doing their job on this desilting of the road. And this, so the Ministry of Environment also is not left out. And bringing you back to the question, measures put in place to ensure that this is sustained. The state government provide receptacles to ensure that people's attitude to waste change. That is by way of proper disposal of their refuse and timely evacuation of this waste. Also, it has embarked on sensitization and enlightenment of the populace on the importance of clean and green, healthy environment.
Ngozi, I want to thank you so much for the detailed information. Thank you very much for your efforts. We do appreciate. You're still watching Nationwide on NTA. Time to head to the mega city, Lagos, where Adeola is standing by. Adeola, let's hear from you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome to Lagos. Ethical rebirth, patriotism and appropriation of justice are some of the factors that can checkmate corruption in the country. This came to the fore at a two-day National Anti-Corruption Colloquium organized by the House of Representatives Committee on Anti-Corruption in Lagos. Bolaji Akim reports that the colloquium, with the theme Strong Will in Implementing Anti-Corruption Measures in the Public Sector, had in attendance heads of public agencies and parastatals.
For 2 days, these heads of government and public agencies gathered together to exchange ideas on how to tame corruption, which has become a serious cankerworm in the country. Representatives of anti-graft agencies in their various submissions agreed that the present moral and structural decadence in the country are mainly caused by corruption. Consequently, the need for all the anti-corruption agencies to synergize to fight the menace called corruption.
Corruption is a notoriously secretive activity, and it is usually only those engaged in corrupt deals or those who work for them that are aware of it. Insiders are among the few people who can report cases of corruption, past or ongoing.
We have the ICPC, EFCC, NFIU, and regulations that regulate different agencies. It's all intended to checkmate corruption. And I said it, fight against corruption is not for one single individual or one single organization. It's a collective responsibility of the citizens of this country.
Delegates at the colloquium, which include the Director General of the NTA, represented by the NTA Lagos Zonal Director, described the 2 days colloquium as being apt, as it is what the country needs if it is going to win the war against corruption.
How do you want us to curb corruption when the parents are the signposts that the children are being financed to carry that life, and you expect a child in SS3 not to hope to go to that place? We have to have an ethical rebirth.
A communique at the end of the colloquium posited that every factor that promotes corruption must be eliminated in public offices, while the prosecution of corrupt officers must be taken seriously, no matter who is involved. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
The federal government has commenced meeting with property owners captured and enumerated along the route of the 700-kilometer Lagos-Calabar coastal highway for adequate compensation. Federal Controller of Works Lagos State, Olukorede Kisha, during a media chat, called on other affected property owners to come forward for the processing before compensation is made. Larry Belay has details.
The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway is next on the federal government's list of project goals. The project is a 700-kilometer route expanded into a 10-lane highway from Victoria Island in Lagos and ends in Calabar, traversing 9 states, including Delta, Bayelsa, and Rivers. Property owners along this route, however, expressed their reservations about the planned demolition of property on its rights of way, and this had made the federal government to call for a process of compensation. Federal Controller of Works, Lagos State, Olukorede Kisha, explains more.
They will come, this is the figure. Once you're okay with the figure, you understand, we'll call the next person. So you go back and start removing whatever is valuable. You understand, to you there, why we initiate the process of payment. We're not saying that we are paying next year or in 10 years. The money is ready.
The controller emphasized that no property will be demolished without the owners being adequately compensated.
So if you are eligible and you think it's not adequate, there are ways we can still address that. There are ways. This government has said everybody must be smiling. They do not want to provide infrastructure and then cost at the expense of some people's happiness.
Especially property captured and enumerated along the route. In Lagos, Larry Belay, NTA News.
And those are the reports from Lagos. Nationwide will continue in Benin with Uduak after this timeout. Please stay.
watching Nationwide on the NTA. Welcome to Benin. Governor Godwin Obaseki has described the outcome of the Stakeholders Forum on Edo Master Plan held across the 3 senatorial zones as an indication that the state is ready for rapid development. This was a submission at the end of the Stakeholders Forum on the 30 years Edo Urban and Regional Master Plan initiated by the state government. Goodluck Enaini has the details.
The Edo State Urban and Regional Master Plan is a dynamic long-term planning document that provides a conceptual layout to guide future growth and development. The 30-year master plan is subject to review every 5 years, but this government believes cannot be achieved without the input of people. Hence, the Stakeholders Forum with think tanks from the 3 senatorial districts giving their contributions, which borders on environmental sustainability, food security, transportation, strong security architecture, infrastructure, and healthcare delivery.
Then one place will be like desert for our area. We then get this species, the monkey will get red mark for head. If we develop that place, it will see bring money come into our area.
What we have presented today, we know they are very immense and invaluable to the growth of Edo State.
Just as the various leaderships of the ministries took time to brief the forum on their activities in line with the master plan, Governor Obaseki says the emergence of the plan, which shall be legislated, will aid purposeful development for the good of all.
People now see or begin to understand that the challenges we're going through today as a people, both from a physical space and from a policy space, is because we don't share a common plan.
The last time the state had a master plan was during the administration of the late General Samuel Ogbomudia in the 70s. In Benin, Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
Nigeria, like most other countries of the world, is feeling the adverse impact of climate change, ranging from extreme weather conditions, rising sea levels, loss of biodiversity, and other negative effects on human lives. Goodluck Enaini in this report takes us through the efforts of the state government in scaling biodiversity through efficient forest reserve.
Forests are critical ecosystems providing habitats for most of the planet's species and livelihoods for nearly 1 billion people. It plays a crucial role in mitigating climate change by acting as carbon sinks, absorbing billions of metric tons of carbon dioxide annually. Experts say activities on the environment has continued to affect the environment, making the world forests suffer depletion at an alarming rate, just as forest cover of the state dropped significantly less than 6%, a situation experts say spells danger.
The first effect, as we have said, is this global warming, climate change, the loss of land, degradations everywhere. We don't have timber again. And that is the reason why we are trying as much as possible to plant up.
The state government, in collaboration with Board of Association Bernadette Strabel, embarked on planting 1 million trees for peace afforestation project a few years ago in Eho to salvage the effects of climate change and to house some wildlife animals. Dr. Festus Onowolo, also known as Treeman of Obaseki, is the project manager.
This project is solely funded by Association Bernadette Strabel World Peace. Mr. Governor saw the importance of this project. He donated a hillock, total hillocks. Apart from the government providing the land for this project, they're also giving some support.
Apart from mitigating climate change, the forest also provides job for people in the host community.
So when they brought this kind of project to this place, I was very happy. And when my community gave them workers, I knew that they will also bring a novel project to us.
Forest plays a critical role in stabilizing the climate. And this is why experts have recommended the planting of trees, which begins from the nursery, like the one you see here, where seedlings and baby trees are grown in a healthier condition. In Benin, Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Is back to Abuja for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you so much. In a bid to clamp down on financial crimes and other market misconducts, the Central Bank of Nigeria is set to enforce the existing requirement that all transactions from point-of-sale channels in Nigeria must go through a licensed payment terminal service aggregator. Benny Adams brings us details.
The move by CBN is aimed at tracking all electronic transactions given the tendency of such transactions for insecurity, crime, banditry and kidnapping, among other national interests. The Apex Bank has therefore awarded the country's second payment terminal service aggregator license to Nigeria's premier financial technology company, Unified Payments, after a rigorous process. This, the CBN believes, addresses concerns about channeling all transactions through a single aggregator, the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, which had been the case for some time. With the new policy direction, payment service providers would henceforth route all transactions through either of the two licensed companies. Reacting to the development, industry players commend the central bank, affirming that the move is a huge step in the right direction. They also commend the open, transparent and inclusive manner through which the selection process was managed and the license awarded. The Unified Payment Service Limited, also called Unified Payments or UP, is the first and only known bank entity that is a principal member and license acquirer of all of American Express, MasterCard, Visa, Union Pay, among others. Unified Payments facilitates both local and international transactions. The shareholders of Unified Payments are First Bank, Access Bank, United Bank for Africa, Guarantee Trust Bank, Zenith Bank, and Fidelity Bank. Other shareholders are Citibank Nigeria Limited, Ecobank of Nigeria, First City Monumental Bank, Keystone Bank, Polaris Bank, Stanbic IBTC Bank, Sterling Bank, and Wema Bank.
Still on financial matters, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation is engaging stakeholders on the need to comply with the guidelines for the conduct of government businesses in planning and management of cash resources for effective and efficient service delivery. Correspondent Tokwe Alabi reports that the Minister of Finance and the Coordinator Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, was a special guest at the one-day event in Abuja.
To effectively implement the federal government's cash management policy, the government integrated financial management information system was designed to enable timely preparation and implementation of a participatory cash plan.
It took time before MDAs started responding.
Accountant General of the Federation, Dr. Oluwatoyin Madein, says the interaction and sensitization with stakeholders from the different ministries, departments and agencies focuses on strategies for realizable inflows and controlled outflows with value for money in public expenditures.
So I will still continue to solicit for your support to make sure that the implementation is done well. And wherever there are issues, we'll be glad to have those issues resolved.
While commending the policy, participants, however, raised concerns about overheads and the need for improved budget execution by MDAs. The Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, want stakeholders to key into President Tinubu's vision for a transparent, inclusive and result-oriented economy.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is committed to doing things better, to making life better for all Nigerians. At the core of it is his handling and his husbanding of the financial resources of the country.
In Abuja, Tokwe Alabi, NTA News.
And the federal government has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Embassy of Japan and the Japanese International Cooperation Agency on enhancement of rice seeds production system and diagnostic capability in Nigeria. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning Atiku Bagudu signed the agreements on behalf of the federal government, while the Japanese ambassador to Nigeria signed for the government of Japan. Bagudu noted that the rice seed production project is aimed at achieving self-sufficiency in rice production and input substitution, with focus on enhancing quality of breeder and foundation seeds, equipment procurement for rice cultivation, testing, inspection and post-harvest processing. Plateau State have called for a halt to the incessant attacks and killings in communities in the state. This was during a meeting convened by the General Officer commanding 3 Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar at the Maxwell Cobb Cantonment, Rukuba, Jos. Indian and the Yaba Gang reports.
The meeting is for stakeholders from Bokos and Mangu local government areas where some communities came under attack with lives and property lost. Leaders of the communities decried the unfortunate happenings and called on everyone to have a rethink and work towards the restoration of peace in the areas. The GOC 3 Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven frowned at the continuous defiance to peace and especially attacks on security personnel by women and youth, warning that such will no longer be tolerated.
Going forward, we must avoid rumor-mongering and peddling of fake news if we must succeed and have peace restored to our communities.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang, represented by Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs Ephraim Usman, says the government is doing everything possible to address the situation. He appealed to the GOC to reconsider his stance on withdrawal of personnel from Bokos, as that will further expose the people, especially students at the state university located in the area, to more danger.
When we came on board as a government, we have lost Operation Rainbow, and by the grace of God, very soon Operation Rainbow and Peace Building Agency will engage community leaders so that we can have peace.
The speakers commend the GOC for his proactive measures and pray for a quick resolution of the violent conflict in Jos, Indian and the Abuja, NTA News.
And we have Caleb Cochin standing by in Jos for more insight into the efforts. Caleb, thank you for joining us on Nationwide. And then could you tell us, what would you say are the takeaways from the meeting?
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I think the summary of it all is that the people are saying that they are tired of all that has been happening. For record purposes, it's over 2 decades now that this phase of crisis started. And it is the agreement of all those who gathered at that meeting that this has come too long and they have gained nothing from all the crisis. So it is time to now stop. So they are going back to their communities to meet in their various clusters, to talk to each other heart to heart, to ensure that all these attacks, all these counter-attacks come to an end. So that is it. The security too have also declared that they will not stop at doing their best to ensure that, yes, this crisis come to an end. So the summary of it is that we are tired and it will come to an end.
That's quite interesting to know, but really, what is the security situation generally in the States?
Everywhere is peaceful, there's calm everywhere. So, like I told you, everybody is tired. So, these 2 local governments are the ones that have been witnessing this of recent. But now they have resolved to go back and also toe the line, the path of these other local governments that have embraced peace. So I think that is it.
All right, thank you so much, Caleb, for the update. Thank you so much. Let's take another break. Nationwide continues shortly.
Fellow Nigerians.
You're still watching Nationwide on NTA. Advancing ethics of hospitality in the local community as panacea in rebuilding societies torn apart by ethno-religious and political crisis topped discussion at the 25th inaugural lecture of the National Open University of Nigeria in Abuja. Are We the Reason? Christian Religion in the Nigerian Public Sphere was the paper presented by Professor Godwin Kakpia, Professor of Systematic. It says religion, ethnicity and diversity, the nation's sources of strength, must be promoted for more growth.
So if you are a Christian, how is that shown in your public life? How is that shown in what you do? And if you are a Muslim, it's the same thing. Being somebody who studied religion, I do know that if you are a Christian and a Muslim and you live this religion, Nigeria won't have the problem we're having. So what then is the problem? When we fail to live what we preach, when we cannot accommodate others because of their nature, ethnic origin, way of life, or economic conditions, I conclude that indeed we are the reason.
We now know that you are now a professor. And that is really what we are doing here. It's a culture, it's a tradition for universities.
Lecture is in line with statutory function that must be carried out by a lecturer at the attainment of a professorial status. For more reports, let's join Ladidi in Maiduguri.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome to Maiduguri. As part of effort toward promoting peaceful coexistence and strengthening social cohesion among communities in the Northeast sub-region, Center for Peace, Diplomatic and Development Studies, University of Maiduguri has organized a validation workshop on assessing social cohesion for peaceful coexistence. Maimuna Garba reports that the workshop was held with the participation of various stakeholders.
The workshop focused on means and ways of promoting peaceful coexistence among diverse communities through research to understand factors affecting social cohesion and develop strategies to enhance community relationships, facilitate dialogues between diverse groups, and implement programs aimed at fostering understanding and cooperation. Deputy Vice Chancellor Academy Services, University of Maiduguri, who declared the workshop open on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, emphasized the significance of the workshop and the institution's commitment to the center's mandate, where he specifically acknowledged Northeast Development Commission for their support in transforming the region.
I appeal to NEDC to do more, to the universities, to fund researches that can provide solutions.
Professor Suletaji, University of Maiduguri, provided an overview of the project research, highlighting its scope and objectives.
The views of today will be collated and added to the main report, and then the report will be published and then disseminated to the public.
Key recommendations from the presentation include capacity building, inclusive governance, government support and coordination, education and awareness campaigns, and monitoring and evaluation. The workshop underscores the collaborative efforts required to address social cohesion challenges and promote sustainable peace in the Northeast region. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
That does it from Maiduguri. Nationwide continues in our Enugu Network Center. Stay with us.
So much and welcome to Enugu. Governor Peter Mba says his administration is committed to providing long-term measures towards eradicating poverty in the state. The governor was speaking while flagging off the distribution of palliatives to indigent persons across the 17 local government areas of the state. Chika Ugu's report is here presented.
The collaborative initiative by the federal and state governments is a short-term measure for achieving zero hunger rates in the state. Governor Peter Mba said, in line with his administration's promise to eradicate poverty, several programs have been initiated to generate employment and create wealth for indigents of the state. He hinted that stringent measures have been adopted to ensure that the palliatives get to the indigent families in the state.
We are poised to ensure that we upskill them. For those in agriculture, we provide extension services to upskill them so they can be able to increase and upskill their production. and those that are in business. We have intervened by providing funds for those in the small and medium-scale businesses. We have intervened in those areas.
Over 30,000 bags of rice to be spread across the 360 wards in the state will be distributed through the social register to avoid diversion.
Each ward will get 70 bags of rice. This is just the first phase of distribution.
We are working collaboratively with the commissioners because we don't have chairman present in Enugu State. We're working together with the HPMs, we're working together with the security men, both DSS, police, the community leaders in the various communities to ensure that this particular item goes down to the poor ones, those who are in need of it.
The distribution of the palliatives to indigent people in the state will be a continuous gesture by the state government. In Enugu, Chiegono Aro, NTA News.
And that is it from here. It's back to Elizabeth in Abuja.
Thank you so much, Chinenye. And that's Nationwide today. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Enjoy your weekend.